It is Jon Jones versus Anthony Smith. Let us talk to the aforementioned Anthony Lionheart Smith, who joins us now via the magic of Skype. There he is, Anthony Smith, standing by. Anthony, how are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
I appreciate it. You know, I didn't expect to speak to you so quickly, but you got this title shot. It's a massive deal. It's the main event. I see it right in back of you over there on that whiteboard, which is a great shot. And so I felt compelled to reach out, and I appreciate the time. It's right in back of you, right over there on the other side. You see it?
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah. Whoever's framed the screen did a great job. When you said that to me on the New Year's show, when you said you believed your next fight was against Jon Jones, was that something you were just kind of putting out there into the world, or did you truly believe that it would go down like this?
No, I truly believed it. I didn't see another option. I didn't think that Daniel was going to come down to 205. And when Jon said that he wasn't going up to heavyweight, I believed him. It was the way that he said it. It was, you know, it was a lot of that stuff. So, and I just, you know, as much as Corey Anderson doesn't like me, and I honestly, I think Corey Anderson's a great fighter. I really do. But he's not exciting, and he's not putting asses in seats. And I got finishes, and I'm doing everything that I got to do to get there. And I honestly, I just didn't see who else they put in front of me.
How did you find out you were getting the shot?
Well, we've been talking about it a little bit right after Jon fought. It was a little bit of back and forth and trying to figure out timelines and stuff like that. And I was, you know, I had an injury in the Vulcan fight, so we're, you know, talking about that stuff. And then they called me on the day that Dana released it to TMZ. We had gotten it done that earlier that day.
Wow, because it happened pretty quickly, right? I mean, I didn't expect it to happen so fast. Did you think it would go that fast? I mean, I guess a week after his fight, right?
Yeah, I didn't think it would be that fast, but it was fairly quick. And as soon as they called it, it's so cool how the UFC just kind of knows me so well. They didn't call and say, "Hey, we kind of have this date in mind. Would you like to fight?" They called and said, "Hey, we got the Jon Jones fight done. We'll send you a bout agreement," and that's it. I said, "All right, cool," and that was the end of the conversation. It was literally that simple. Like, you know, all the contract stuff is already in, you know, is in play.
So the one weird thing is, everything okay? Someone interrupting you?
Sorry, Ariel. What was that?
What's happening? Someone want to come in on?
I was talking to Mark.
Oh, okay, Mark Montoya.
Yeah.
One of the best coaches. Yes.
Hey, Mark, let's talk to you.
Oh, okay. Talk to him right now. Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
What's up, man?
How are you?
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't hear because of the headphones, right?
There we go.
There you go.
Hi, Ariel.
Hey, Mark, it's great to hear from you and great to see you. You've had a great year. Congratulations. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but let me just ask, can you hear me? No, he can't hear me.
Oops.
I think it's because of the headphones.
Uh-oh. There we go. We got you.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. What's up?
Congratulations on a great year. It's great to have you on. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to ask you this. I'll put you on the spot with this big one. How do you beat Jon Jones?
Oh, that's a great question. We're not going to tell anybody.
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding. I'll tell you how we beat him. We go to work like we always do, and Anthony goes out here and showcases his skills. I know that Anthony's strength absolutely fall into Jon's weaknesses, and we're going to expose that for sure. And that's something we're doing this entire camp.
All right. I like that. That's a table setter, if you will. Appreciate you stopping by, Mark. Thank you. And in all honesty, congratulations on a phenomenal 2018.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay. Back to Anthony here for a second. Let me.
Yeah. Sorry, Ariel.
No problem. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The one weird thing about this whole situation is the Nevada aspect, right? He has this hearing. Is there any part of you that is worried that, you know, you got this title fight, you're excited about this title fight, and then all of a sudden it gets taken away, it doesn't happen, something happens at this hearing?
No, I mean, I think that people are fairly confident that that he's going to get licensed. I think that the UFC is taking the right steps, and I think that Jon is being forthcoming with everything. He's taken all the tests. He entered into the VADA pool, and it sounds like everyone's pretty confident that he's going to get licensed.
Okay. Can I ask you a favor? Is it possible to put the headphones back in? It sounded a lot better with the headphones. Is that annoying?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Ariel, this is my worst interview yet.
Why? Why is it so bad?
I don't know. We're just jumbled, and I'm fresh out of practice, and I feel like I'm just doing you a terrible disservice.
No, absolutely not. You're the man, Anthony.
How about that? Is that better?
Yeah, much better. Thank you so much. It's
I'm
just
so
a lot
sorry.
clearer. No problem. No problem. You
I'll
wanted
be
to
better. I'll be better.
You wanted to give your coach shine, and well deserved. So I appreciate that. So you mentioned the Corey Anderson, aspect in all this. We spoke to him last week. He was a little disappointed that he wasn't getting the love. At the end of the day, do you think that they went with you because of the finishes? You have the same amount of wins. Strength of schedule, if you will, is relatively the same, although you have the highest ranked guy, which was Volkan. But do you think that getting those 3 finishes is what put you over the top here?
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that the UFC rewards people for their hard work, and I did a lot of heavy lifting in a short amount of time, and I got the finishes, and that's my style. I chase the finish. I'm not here to just grind out the clock. I'm not trying to let the clock beat anybody. And I just lay it out there, and I think that the UFC and I think the fans appreciate that. I really do. And I think that if Jon had a choice, I think Jon Jones would choose to fight me. I really do. He doesn't want to go in there and put on lackluster performances. That guy wants to fight, and you can say whatever else you want about him. Jon Jones will not shy away from a fight. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think that if we're gonna use the ranking system, like I've always said, that it's really easy to discredit or be happy about the rankings as long as they work out in your favor or they don't. But I'm the next guy. I mean, if we're going by the rankings, I'm the next guy.
What I also love about this fight, I said this last week on our Ariel and the Bad Guy show, to me, it's one of the greatest like David versus Goliath fights that the UFC has ever put on, title fights that is, because you have double-digit losses, you've been around the world, you've had to scratch and claw for everything that you've gotten in your career. Now here you are fighting arguably the greatest ever, the guy who has never been beaten. Very few people have won rounds against Jon Jones. Of course, he has the one loss, but no one considers it a loss. Anthony Smith, of all people, like if Jon Jones was going to lose, it should be against an Anthony Smith, right? A guy who has just been a dreamer, who has fought for everything, who's taken the long route. It's perfect. And I feel like the world is counting you out. The odds are very much against you. I think you're, as of right now, a plus 700. This feels like right? But isn't it great? Doesn't it feel like this is the way it has to be?
Yeah, it does. It does. Everyone talks about the losses and stuff like that. Like, all right, I got 13 losses. That's 13 lessons. That's how Mark talks about it. It's 13 lessons. But in my last 18 fights, I'm 16-2. So, I mean, I've had a whole nother career. In my last 18 fights, I've done better than the most of the division. So, it depends on how you want to look at it, and I'm definitely up against a big challenge here, and I'm not unaware of that, and I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in myself, and I believe in Mark, and I know that the things that we have picked out in Jon's game and the just the expertise and everyone that's around this, like, in the preparation, we're not going to make any mistakes, and whatever happens in the fight happens. But I'm going to go in there, and I'm not going to quit on myself. I'm not going to give up on myself. I'm going to do everything that my coaches want me to do, and that's really all you can do. Like, I'm going there and fight my goddamn ass off, and I think that we have the answer. I really, really believe that we have the answer.
Yeah, I'm looking at the odds right now, by the way, plus 700, minus 1,000 for Jon Jones. Are you getting no respect here? Do you feel like this is insane?
Yeah, that's a little crazy. I think that I think that anytime you have a person who fights like I fight, it's pretty fair to say that, I'm not gonna go anywhere. Like, Jon's not gonna bully me out of there. Like, I think we all can agree that's not gonna happen. And anybody that has 2 arms and 2 legs, I think deserves better odds than that. I mean, it's not like I'm unable. It's not like I don't have the ability to drop a hammer on Jon and set him right out on his ass. Like, that's very possible, and he knows that.
When you fight Jon Jones on March 2nd, do you think that you will be fighting a clean fighter?
I don't, I don't know. Uh, I think that the definition of a clean fighter has gotten mighty gray in the last 6 months. And it didn't used to be like that. It used to be pretty black and white. If you had a banned substance in your body, you were dirty and you were cheating. But for whatever reason, uh, that's not the narrative that everyone is going by anymore. So I honestly, I don't care. At this point, I've got what I've been working for my entire career, and it's going to take more than Jon Jones's pee to change my mind. You know what I mean? I'm in there. I'm going, and it wouldn't honestly. It wouldn't matter what you told me. Walking like right now, there's nothing that would stop me from fighting Jon Jones. If you said that he was hiding a shiv in his jockstrap, I'm still going in.
There are some people, most notably Daniel Cormier, who believe that when Jon Jones is clean, he is a completely different fighter. He's the Jon Jones. Famous example now is the OSP fight, if you will. Do you subscribe to that notion that when he is 100% clean, that he is not as good as he is, and that it is very noticeable in his fights?
Yeah, I can definitely, I can agree with that. But you also, like, every time that happens, Jon is also coming off a long layoff as well. So the OSP thing, he's coming off a suspension. You can either look at it and say he's coming off of a long layoff and he's got a little bit of ring rust, or you can say he's been suspended, so he's definitely not using. I mean, that happened with OSP and with Gustafsson. So, I don't know. Honestly, at this point, that's what's so crazy. Like, had you asked me this before all this other, stuff was going on, I would have been super black and white with you and say, no, Jon's using this and he's cheating and he's dirty and it's simple. But like, everything is created. They've created this allure of just like this gray area. Like, well, he's got steroids in his system or the metabolites from the steroids, but he didn't really use them though. Like, it almost, even as smart as I am, it's almost like pulling the wool over my eyes a little bit.
Oh, okay. So I remember when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, you said you weren't all that impressed with his performance. Are you chalking that up to the layoff and or him being clean? And do you expect to see a better Jon Jones on March 2nd?
I'm training as if I'm going to see the best Jon Jones we've ever seen. But I hope the worst one shows up, to be honest with you. Yeah. I've never said I wanted to win a world title off of the best performance Jon Jones ever had. I never said that. If he trips and falls and I leave there with a world title, I'm good with it. So I'm training for the best and hoping that we see something similar. But I don't know if it was that he's clean now or if it was the layoff but it was something. And I'm really excited to find out what it was.
What happens to your life if you beat Jon Jones?
I mean, personally, probably not a whole lot. I'm going to do the same thing I always do, man. I'm even where I'm at now is drastically different from where I was a year ago. And not a whole lot on the personal life side of it has changed. I make more money and I got cooler shit. But,
yeah, that's a big deal, no?
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool to have nice things and to be able to take your family places and buy your kids whatever you want. But as far as I got the same group of friends. I got I've been with the same girl for 10 years. Nothing changes for me,
I was unaware of an issue between you and Luke Rockhold. What's going on there? I've been noticing some heat between you two. What's the story?
So before I got the fight,
yeah,
probably a week, probably right after Jon fought. It would have been immediately afterwards. He said just a bunch of really terrible things, and honestly, I got pretty thick skin. There's not a lot that hurts my feelings, but the fact of like who it was coming from and just the way he was saying it just really got under my skin. And he was just talking about how terrible I was and that I was a bum and that I was trash. But I didn't say anything, or I couldn't say anything because I knew we were trying to get a fight with Jon, and I knew that if I responded, it was going to take fire. So I didn't say anything. I didn't want to talk myself out of a title fight and into a fight with Luke Rockhold. So I didn't say anything, and then I got the fight, and he went on Luke Thomas's show, and just ran me through the cleaners again. You know, just talking about how amazing it is that I got a title shot, and that just shows how terrible the division is, and just really disparaging, just terrible things, and saying that I wasn't going to last one round with Jon Jones, and how it just being a really just being an arrogant prick, you know. So I just went off, you know. I was on the Luke Thomas show like 30 or 40 minutes later, and I just lost it, you know. I'm just so sick of, you know, and I put Jon Jones in that same category. I'm just sick of people treating other people bad. Like I don't know Jon Jones. I don't know Luke Rockhold. I've never said anything about them, like who they are as a person. I've never talked about Luke Rockhold. Every time you and I talk, or any interview I do, I always give Jon Jones every single bit of credit that he deserves. But I have no problem bringing up his professional hiccups. But I've never talked about him personally, and I've never talked about Luke Rockhold ever. Never happened. So I don't know where this world is these days, where like someone like me could work so hard and sacrifice everything that I've sacrificed, and lost the things that I've lost, and try to be a motivating figure to people to not give up and to keep chasing your dreams. And then when I get it, just run me into the ground like I'm some piece of and you're just better than me, and then look down your nose at me, like, especially when you've lost 2 out of your last 3 fights by vicious knockouts, and you know, like you can't even make it through training camp. Like, I'm out here busting my butt, killing myself trying to make it, and guys like, you know, arrogant pricks like Rockhold with polo deals and Gucci underwear are like bringing me down. Like, I didn't do anything to you. I'm trying to make my own way, you know, and I'm trying to change my life here. And you know, the headlines that are reading all across the screens are Luke Rockhold thinks Anthony Smith is a bum. Like how is that right? Like, how you don't hear NFL guys talk about each other like that. You don't hear guys, you know, in hockey do a bunch of interviews about how terrible individuals are. Like, if you don't believe that I deserve the shot, then why don't you go win a fight and come do something about it?
Well said. So perhaps after this is someone you'd like to settle the score with at this point, right? He has gotten under your skin enough to the point where I think that you'd like to fight him at some point down the line?
Win, lose, or draw, Luke Rockhold's next for me.
Okay.
I just think that sometimes the balance in life needs to be shifted, and sometimes people need to get what they deserve.
I know this is an impossible question to end with, but I'll ask it anyway. I'll ask the same question that I asked Mark. How do you beat Jon Jones? Have you figured it out yet, or is it too? You've probably been thinking about this for a while. This is a man who you can't really necessarily go online, Fight Pass, YouTube, whatever, and look at film of, oh, he looked really vulnerable in that situation. How do you figure out the guy who's really never been figured out?
You know, I don't know if he's never been figured out, or if people just can't execute on it. Because we found lots of holes and tendencies. Like, he's got a lot of them, actually.
Can you give us one or two?
Find.
Well, what are they?
I can't do that, Ariel.
Okay.
That's not fair.
All right.
That's not fair. Jon, if it was anyone but Jon, I would just tell you exactly what I was going to do.
Fair enough.
But he's so smart, you know, and you have to outthink Jon, and you can't let him bully you. You can't let him run you over in there. Like, mentally, you can't let him run you over. If he gets one on, you know, if he hits you hard, or he takes you down, or like, you can't let that affect you, because Jon, he feeds off of that stuff. He feeds off of, you know, you can feel when you got someone broken a little bit, or when they figured out that they're going to lose that situation, and you can just never concede. You can never concede to Jon. You can't, like Gustafsson got taken down, and he kind of conceded that was just where they were going to be for a while, and you can't do that with someone like Jon. You can't concede any positions with him.
Great stuff, Anthony. I'm really happy for you. Congrats on getting the fight. Good luck the next 2 months or so preparing for the fight. What a story this is. It's very well deserved. You give us all hope that, you know, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, you can still go out there and accomplish your dreams. A lot of people, I think, are going to be backing you and rooting for you on March 2nd. Appreciate this very much, Anthony. Thanks so much.
Take care, Ariel.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There he is, Anthony Lionheart-Smith. Again, one of the great guys in this sport. If you can't get behind that story, what this man has been through, all the ups and downs, less than a year ago, losing viciously to Thiago Santos. Now here we are in January of 2019. He's preparing for a shot against Jon Jones, March 2nd in Las Vegas. This is great stuff. This is the stuff dreams are made of. It's David versus Goliath. It's the perfect fight.